everyone, and welcome to Apprenticeships Unfiltered. I'm Mel Papworth, and I'm joined today by a great panel who consist of an employer, a student, an apprentice, and we're going to talk about all things apprenticeships, real honest questions, and let's get started. I'll do the introductions. Over to you, Dylan.
I'm Dylan. I'm a student at Sir William Robertson, final year 13.
My name's Jamie, and I run a manufacturing business in Grantham called Iconic Engineering.
My name's Ellie. I'm a digital marketing apprentice in Stanford.
I don't know if you've done mock interviews and how they relate to the real life interviews, and if you had them at school. Let's talk about the assessment, if you had an assessment or an interview.
Yeah, mine was just an interview, but I didn't really know what was going to, because a lot of them that I'd done before were literally just you talking about yourself, your skills. But for this one, he actually wanted me to do an activity, which I didn't expect. I was like, oh, I thought I was going to be gone. But I sat on a computer for about, I would say it was probably about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And they went upstairs and he got the team upstairs to basically give me a task, so I couldn't prepare for it. And I believe it was something like, how would I improve this site? And he'd get up someone's site and then on a piece of paper or on a document, I can't remember. And I basically, had to write what was wrong with it, how I would maybe lay it out, just to, I suppose it brings out your problem solving, but also how creative you are, because you have to have an equal mix in marketing, really. And it was difficult because I didn't really know a lot about the job. And I've said around the room, like, people misinterpret sometimes what the job actually entails. Everyone just thinks marketing is just social media. I don't do social media. It's all the technical bits. So I didn't really know what to expect. But because I'd read into their website and looked into what they do, I had a rough idea of what they might expect me to pinpoint from that. So I did that for about 30 minutes and then he came back down. He told me to talk through it as well so that he knew where I was going with it and not just jotting down random bits. So with that, I'd say be prepared for there to be some sort of task, because I was not prepared for that. Make sure you can confidently talk about past experiences. And like I said, if you do those extra activities or extra bits, it's then easier to answer a question, because it's expected that you might stumble a bit and be a bit like, oh, I don't know how to answer that question. But if you have something and they're like, oh, I've not heard that before, again, it stands you out, because everyone will have an answer, but it could easily come across like, oh, you sort of just winged that, or it sounds like someone else's. So I think, just building up extra skills and being confident is quite important.
As an employer, we're not expecting you to know a lot, but if you know a few things quite well, that's impressive, because it shows you've picked a thing, even if it's a hobby or whatever it is, and you've almost like fanaticized about it, and you've learned every bit of it, and you're an expert at it, and it shows, well, hopefully you'll do the same for me with what I want you to do. I think fundamentally as humans, and it's the same if you're buying a car or a house or things, a holiday, or you're going to purchase something. You kind of make your mind up in the first 20 seconds. And if it's not a positive reaction, it's really hard to change that person's perception. Somebody walks into my business coming for a job or work experience, and like you say, the body language is all wrong. They're not prepared. They're late, or they're massively early, and it's interfering with something else I'm doing and things. Just all that stuff, it forces me to make a decision subconsciously, without knowing really, right at the beginning. And if it's a bad experience, all of a sudden it's really hard then for you to change my mind.
So it's getting all those little things before making your bed,
It's
that kind of.
My mate Adam always says to me, he's got a phrase he uses, it's a check-up from the neck up. So it's like when you stood in your mirror in the bathroom in the morning for a chap anyway, it's like making sure you're sharp and your hair's combed and you've got some deodorant on and stuff. And I know that's all sort of like petty things, but we're all humans, and we're designed to sort of make our minds up, first and foremost visually, because that's the first thing that happens, is that you see someone, and it's nothing to do with your body type or where you come from or anything like that. It's just like, has that person made an effort? That's the decision that you're making straight away. If they look like they've just rolled out of bed, you're like, really? Whereas if, like you say, they've come in, they've combed their hair, they've, you know, not got the pajamas on, they've got like a nice shirt on or something, you know, you don't have to wear a 3-piece suit and a bowler hat and come in with an umbrella and all this sort of stuff. It's just, you just got to look like you're treating it seriously. We had a few students come in for T-level things, and they all rolled in tracksuits and hoodies and stuff like that. I'm like, you know, that's you every day. You're not, and it's a vain thing, but employers like to look like they're being flattered. You know what I mean? It's like, you've made an effort for me, you know, sort of thing. I know it's really sort of a silly thing, but it helps. Of course it does. If you come down to the two people, equal kind of qualifications, who's made the most effort? There's your decision, isn't it? So, you know, and it's an easy win, isn't it? Just getting up in the morning and just making sure you're nice and square and, you know, sorted, your shoes are clean and you know, whatever. And like you said, it's about researching the business. You know, you can go on LinkedIn and look at the managing director of that company and see his post and see what kind of personality that person might have. You know, you can see what he's what they're posting, a bit, you know, their hobbies and things like that. It's really easy now compared to the old days. You know, you'd walk into a business, haven't even seen the person's face, you know, and it's like, how do I deal with this? Whereas now you can learn all this stuff about them first. You know, you can even try and connect with them before you go for the interview. And
would you recommend connecting with the employer? Was that something, did you research?
I had barely used LinkedIn before. Obviously, I use it a lot now. But it was more a case of looking at their website and understanding, because like I said, well, I do websites all the time now, so I know what's on a website, but they do typically say their missions or their values or just what they do, because it's easy to go in and go, like I said, oh, I want to do an apprenticeship because I want to work and I like the look of your company, but everyone will say that and they expect that you like the look of their company because you're applying, but it's just why with everything. So yeah, definitely research the company, and it definitely would help now to connect with people like we were talking about earlier, just networking anyway and having them as a connection, because even if maybe you got rejected one time and then did what you did and then come back and go, or they might promote even just a week's work experience with them. People do all different things to get work experience. And yeah, go back to them and go, oh, I've connected with you. I come back. We've actually had that in our workplace recently. We were hiring and a guy had come to an interview before, got rejected, and then he's reapplied again, but really actually made the effort to connect and to tell him why he really wants it this time. I don't know if he got the job because we're still hiring people, but we remembered him, and we've had people even call again, like we're doing interviews, and he called to just double check that he's going to hear a response. And I remembered his name from calling, and I was like, is this guy going to hear a response? And even just making that little bit of an effort to show that you're prepared to wait and to hear the response of if they got it or if they didn't, goes a long way, because you do remember people.
I really like that you're bringing up the resilience and accepting that you can be rejected. And I think this is where you say it's so competitive. This is something you're going to have to put your armour on and realise that rejection's going to be is part of life.
You have to be consistent.
And I think,
we find, I think I've said this before, when we've had people come for work, it's, let's say, an example, chap with the hoodie and tracksuit on and stuff, he came across awful in the interview that we did with him, because it was kind of like, oh, so why do you want to be an engineer? Don't know, just like engineering. Well, what bit of engineering? Well, you know, making stuff. Like, have you made anything in the past? No. It's like, you know, it was really awful answers, no conversation, you know, there was no back and forth. It was, you know, so I basically, after he left, I sent him an email. I said, right, I want you to have another go at this. But what I want you to do is have a serious think about those questions that were asked and have answers ready, even if you need to write them down. You know, I don't mind people coming in with a bit of a script, because we're not all good at just off the cuff kind of speaking. Having a couple of little reminders is great. Shows you've prepared, shows effort. You know, this is what I'm saying. But never heard from him again, because I think he just couldn't deal with the fact that
the rejection.
Yeah, you know, and that's happened loads of times. And even I remember way back, I got asked by the college years ago to come in and do, they said, could you do work experience for some of the students through the year, like a week at a time, and cycle them through the business? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That's easy. And actually, we could do with a spare pair of hands here and there from time to time. So win-win for everyone, surely. They said, could you come to the college and just explain your business and what you do and things? And again, I said, I'm not just going to give these opportunities to people. I want them to kind of earn it a bit, to treat it like a job interview. I said, so for them to get this opportunity, all I asked them to do was write me a CV. And out of a class of like 20-something lads, I got 2 CVs. And it's like they weren't prepared to put the effort in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why that is. Was it a fear of rejection?
Especially in our age, there's a great number of kids who are a bit scared to go outside of their comfort zone. You were talking about it earlier about when you're in school your whole life, you can literally bounce off the walls and get it wrong, and there's someone there to hold your hand and say, it's okay, it's all right, I'll tell you what to do. Sit down here, write this, here's a pen. And then as soon as there's no teacher or there's no threat of detention, they're in the big wide world and they're scared. And I can't think of a way how to tackle that, but it is a bit of an issue.
It's quite a sudden cut-off, isn't it?
Yeah, someone's holding your hand until you're 18 or 16.
And it's literally like on the day, it's like,
Go
see
on,
ya.
Yeah, that's it, good luck.
Yeah.
And you don't even have the social skills. Well, that's an important thing. You do need the social skills and the networking. I think perhaps maybe a school or schools in general should push that a bit more to let you go out there, maybe more work experience, things like that.
It's that interaction with people outside your bubble. Doing things like this, I mean, this is out of everybody's comfort zone at the moment, isn't it?
As an enrichment exercise for you guys, it's
amazing.
Again, it's something on your CV that you'll have that others won't.
Instead of waiting to be spoon-fed something, because it won't happen, unfortunately. You can't do your exams and sit there and then go, so when's the university going to come in there, offer me a place, or when's an apprenticeship going to come along? You do have to go and get them.
Yeah,
they're not. I don't think people understand how important it is sometimes.
And on that note, we'll bring it to a close. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for the stories and conversations. It's been really good.